Shalom everyone. I had a different topic in mind this morning that I was going to speak about. However, I decided that I would speak to the people directly involved, I suppose, instead of making a video. And I thought I would make this video about an Islamic related topic, as I did have quite a few ideas about that as well before I went on to speak more about modesty related topics, which I'm actually really excited about. And so, as you can see from the title of this video, I do want to talk about whether Islam is tolerant or whether it calls for jihad, pretty much. And so I do want to see and look into whether the Quran calls for tolerance towards non-Muslims or whether it calls for jihad against non-Muslims. And in order to sort of answer that, we have to kind of look at Muhammad himself. Now, Muhammad said that Angel Gabriel appeared to him over a 22-year period where he revealed verses to him. Now, Muhammad's life can be sort of, divided into two parts. First part being the tolerant years in Mecca, and the not so tolerant, the more aggressive years in Medina. And you will see that those verses that were received contradict each other. Now, when Muhammad received his revelations, he was living in Mecca. He was a preacher, and at that time he actually preached in a nice way. He preached Islam peacefully. Even after he moved to Medina, for the first year at least, he preached peaceful Islam, and he was nice. So many Muslims will say that Muhammad was such a nice, loving, tolerant guy, and for the most part, that's kind of true when Islam sort of first began, but things have changed since. I do want to read a verse from the Quran, from Surah 2, verse 256. It says, "Let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. Whoever rejects evil and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. And Allah hears and knows all things." The verse pretty much says that you can't really force anyone to change their religion. So at that point, as I said, Muhammad preached Islam a peaceful way, but that didn't really last long. Things changed a year later after Muhammad came to Medina. Even though Muhammad kind of managed to convert peacefully most pagans at the time, Jews for the most part, well, or should I say none of the Jews for the most part were converted. And that's when Muhammad sort of changed his strategy to one of power. That's when he declared jihad and went out to convert non-believers to Islam, by force, by the sword, as they say. And I do want to read another surah. Surah 9 verse 5 says, "Kill the mushrikun wherever you find them, and capture them and besiege them, and lie in wait for them in each and every ambush." Now, this verse clearly contradicts the prior one which I read, and there is a verse which actually justifies the contradiction, and so I want to read that, and that's from Surah 2 verse 106. "Whatever a verse do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring a better one or similar to it. Know you not that Allah is able to do all things." Now, to abrogate means to nullify or to abolish. And so we know that these abrogated verses are replaced with better ones or similar ones. And so, you can still read, there's no compulsion in Islam. You can still advocate for it. you can still use that, and most modern Muslims do use that when they do say that, you know, Islam is a religion of peace. They do use that verse, but it has been abrogated and therefore it has no authority. Now, Jews and Christians at the time of Muhammad were listening to him preach, and they noticed that he kept changing, and so they started complaining, saying, you know, how can you be from God? You know, they asked, how can God change? And, you know, how can you say one thing one day and then something different the next day? And there is another verse from the Quran that I want to read, and it's from Surah 16, verse 102. Say, O Muhammad, Gabriel has brought down the Quran from your Lord with truth, and it may make firm and strengthen the faith of these who believe, and as a guidance and glad tidings to those who have submitted to Allah. So I think, you know, in other words, Allah told Muhammad to pretty much just say, you know, the Quran is from God, it's the truth, and it benefits those who believe in it, pretty much. And so there's many people, especially the moderate Muslims, who say that Islam means peace, but as I've sort of been through it previously, and I've said and mentioned that Islam actually means submission, and it's submission to Allah. You know, you either submit or die, as I said in one of my other videos. Yes, Muhammad started preaching peacefully, you know, without a sword, but all that was abrogated, and Muslims are actually taught in the Quran to wage war, wage jihad against all non-believers. And even though it's not happening currently in the West, there will come a time where that will take place once Muslims become a majority, and that's a given. That is their aim, and that is their end goal, pretty much. So yes, so that's kind of it. And thank you for listening, guys. I hope that kind of answered some of your questions that you might have had. And yes, so thank you for watching, and until next time, shalom.